What's going on, guys? Dan here, and I want to talk about everyone's favorite purple, imagination-based reptile. That's right, Barney.
Well, I'm as real as your imagination.
Figment's a dragon, he's not a dinosaur. I'd like to make sure that that is correct for the record. I was what you would call a Barney kid. I'm that special flavor of millennial that was raised in part by VCR, and these beautiful white tapes with their bright purple lettering truly taught me how to use my imagination. The lovable dino was designed and constructed by prolific Broadway costumer Irene Corey, the woman who paved the way for the crazy costuming trends that literally gave us cats. You can see from the original concept art, the first Barney designs were kind of, maybe a little bit aggressive. These look very Jurassic Park T-Rex and very much not Big Bird and Mickey Mouse lovable, huggable fun.
Barney is a dinosaur, a dinosaur, a dinosaur.
Let's meet the first Barney. Let's talk about how this Barney was made. Because this Barney was made in a lot of the ways that you're familiar with how Muppets were constructed, how Sesame Street characters were built. This was an exposed foam rubber that was flat patterned and built into this costume character and then was painted purple and green, which is partly why it looks so disturbing. There's just something about the texture of original Barney. It's just too dark. And there's also something about the lines of the original Barney. Everything is just so sharp and maybe a little bit more aggressive than we needed it to be. The first Barney Specials were three masterpieces, in my opinion. First, we had Barney's Backyard Dad Birthday, in which we needed to summon the power of a dinosaur to celebrate your dad's birthday. I mean, everyone needs a dinosaur to celebrate dad's birthday. Then there were Three Wishes, where Barney's like, everyone needs to chill. All right, I know we can't get along. I'm gonna give you 3 wishes. We'll go to 3 different places, all right? So everyone gets a taste of their favorite imaginative play. And then finally, we just went to the beach, in which Barney applied a liberal amount of a very high SPF to all the children because the sun is dangerous. One of my favorite things about the original Barney costume is they did a lot of blue screen, and they did not anticipate the dark purpleness of Barney for the blue screen, specifically in Three Wishes. There are many, many scenes in which he appears to be almost gray because of the color correcting they had to do, because Barney was nearly the same color as the background. The original Barney costume was 70 pounds and would get over 100 degrees inside for the performer while he was, doing his dino gig up on the set. It's a very heavy, very dense costume that doesn't lend itself to being taken off and putting on as easily as, say, Big Bird, and so the performer inside Barney got locked in there for substantial amounts of time, which was a little steamy.
I played Barney from 1991 until 2001.
If you guys want, I mean, the people inside Barney and who voiced Barney are truly unique characters all their own. So there's some stories to tell there. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear them in a future video. The original Barney operated like Big Bird in a lot of ways, in that he had 2 active arms that could be puppeteered, but he also had to have his mouth operated in some way. So the performer inside would often have one hand inside a dino little stubby Rex arm, and the other hand up inside the mouth operating Barney's jaw by pulling a lever. Which is why the direct-to-video VHSs often feature Barney with a dead arm in most of the scenes. First Barney just had some real vibes, man. He just had some real suspicious, you don't know what he was up to. When Barney's not being actively imagined, what is he up to? What is he doing? Where does he go? He might be the... His nostrils are they're just too big, all right? They're just too, you could lose a whole hand in one of these nostrils, all right? After their first batch of videos, they realized that they needed a fresh Barney, and we got it. In 1990, a new wave of Barney came, starting with Waiting for Santa, and man, we get a much friendlier dinosaur. I mean, the purple is more welcoming, the green is more welcoming, just everything about this new Barney, it's like, oh, Oh, we're kind of getting it now. First and foremost, he was rebuilt out of a lighter foam, which completely changed the lower half of the Barney. Before, we had Fitness Barney, and now we have a Barney who likes Ben and Jerry's. All right, he's a little bit rounder in the lower half. He's got a little bit thicker legs, a little bit of a belly. I'm here for that. All right, that was a clear later in life role model for me, okay? Big Leno jaw is Barney's brand, all right? Because that's where all of the motion comes from with Barney being articulated. All of the direct-to-video sales culminated in a live Barney tour. 1991, Barney in concert. They taped it and they released it, and it is a masterpiece, all right? And this is where we truly find some of the trends of the Barney costume that have stayed with us forever. Most notably, he's now made of Antron fleece. Antron fleece is everyone's favorite fuzzy material for their favorite huggable TV characters. Almost all of the Muppets are made of Antron fleece, and it's a really unique type of material that allows the hiding of seams in a very specific way. Now, this was a live costume. The rebuilding of it with the Antron fleece was great. Now, one of the things we sacrificed in this live costume was a lot of the mouth movement, and there's a reason for that. There's only so much the performer could do inside of this suit with his two active hands that kind of needed to be active during most of the show because Barney had to be very articulate, and that meant that his mouth didn't move a lot because we were left with this sort of like head rocking technique to get the jaw to kind of flap around as much as possible. And while it was magical to see Barney in live, with the children, a little bit was lost. Also, important to note, mostly for visibility's sake, Barney loses his tongue, all right? There's only one way that performer is seen out of this costume, and it's through that big black hole between those shiny pearly teeth. And if there's a tongue dangling there, whew, it really cuts down on what can be seen. And you don't want Barney tumbling into the audience, because those kids do not know how to crowd surf a dinosaur. Would young Dan have been front row and center for Barney in Concert Forever performance? Kenny, he was, because I wore this VHS out, all right? I think my parents might have bought 2 or 3 of some of these VHSs because, whew, I was a Barney kid. I think it's important to mention that while there was a lot of great work going on stage during Barney's 1991 Grand American Tour, what we were left with backstage for VIP meet and greet experiences was, it left something to be desired. Now listen, I understand how these kind of things happen. You invest a lot of money into a prototype of a suit to kind of understand how it's patterned, how it's designed, how we're gonna use it, and we end up with something that looks like something. I mean, that looks like something. It's not Barney, but it looks like Barney's cousin, Corey. It's mostly just Barney skin without a lot of Barney substance underneath. After Barney's victory tour, his live victory tour across America, he got a TV deal. And Barney and the Backyard Gang became Barney and Friends. And that Antron fleece design that we saw live on stage was rebuilt into what could be considered the definitive version of Barney the Dinosaur for season 1 of Barney and Friends. Here's where some light tweaks came into the Barney design, all right? We're into the TV show now, okay? We can't have dead-armed Barbie. Dead-armed Barbie. Coming soon, Barbie Pirates, featuring dead-armed Barbie. We can't have a dead-armed Barney on his television show. Both hands need to be active. He sings about hugging. The man needs to be able to hug. So what we need is some kind of mechanism that's reliable in a way to allow Barney to articulate and lip sync the wonderful voice acting that's being done for him. And the solution for that is a very complicated system of sponges and bars. The performer bites down on a bar that's padded with a sponge attached to the inside of Barney's bottom jaw. While biting on the sponge bar, the performer then moves their head up and down to make Barney's mouth open and close. This allowed the performer to move both of Barney's arms at the same time while also making him look like he's talking. It really wears on a jaw. Imagine a big pipe coming out of your mouth that you had to chew on every time you wanted to talk. Does not sound great. Season 1 introduced the core definitive Barney. Every season took the opportunity to refine the costume in one way or another, specifically in things like its snout size and shape, the height and design of the teeth and the mouth, the way that the eyes would blink or look side to side, and then also specifically how the legs and the stomach were built and rounded. So all of these different variables would constantly change from season to season to refine, to also better fit the performer inside and the needs of the character on screen. Hey guys, Dan here, and I've got a great way to plus up your next shindig. It's your favorite theme park scents from the Magic Candle Company. Look at these candles! Aren't they great? They come in waxes, there's sprays, little bottles of oils. 1995 saw something really big happen to Barney. Now you have to remember, Barney was in the homes of everyone and was really this kind of intimate play friend that we all had through the use of our imaginations. That's what the whole show was about. And we couldn't really access a real live Barney unless a tour of the show was coming through, because every time a new season or a new special would drop, there had to be a tour to promote it, and that was cool, but you couldn't meet him. That all changed though in 1995 when Universal Studios opened its very own Barney Attraction that featured a live Barney show and Barney meet and greet opportunities 365 days a year, baby. It's Barney time. You want to imagine Barney? He's here for you no matter what. Man, I think this is really amazing. And it was wildly successful. So much so that it just closed because of the pandemic. 25 years later? That's pretty impressive. That's pretty wild for something that just started off as a direct-to-home video in Dallas, Texas in 1988. To be featured for 25 years in Universal Studios as a fan favorite is something else. Now here's something that's important for me to note about the Barney costumes, because Barney is often live in tour and he's being seen inside of theme parks. There's lots of Barney exposure, and they did a really great job of keeping the live tour Barneys updated with whatever Barney version is being filmed at the time. So the costumes were being made in tandem, and there wasn't really this discrepancy like we see in things like Disney on Ice. The same company is making these costumes across the brand, and they are very consistent because of this. This all, of course, culminates to Barney's great big movie celebration, Barney's Great Adventure in 1998. And we get a brand new costume. It looked beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful.
There's something about filming Barney on cinematic cameras that the trash that they were using to film him for the TV show just was not serving for me. Barney looks so great in this movie. By 1998, I was 9, and I was fully checked out of Barney at this point. And I was fully checked into Power Rangers. So I've seen the movie, but it's not something that really stuck with me because I was really worried about defeating Rita Repulsa. She was living on the moon, Kenny. Our moon! America's moon! That's our flag up there, Rita! Not yours, all right? So you take you and your putty squad and get out! Remember back when I mentioned all that consistency between the TV shows and the live shows because the same company was making the costumes for both? Allow me to introduce you to 2010's Barney's Birthday Bash Live. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! What is this Barney face? What is this Barney face? It looks like he's trying to be human. What happened to this Barney? What strange thing peeled back the skin of Barney's face and turned it into a human skull before peeling the purple back on? The first production featuring V Entertainment, the company responsible for every Sesame Street live show that you're familiar with, and made the very, very bold choice to design the Barney costume around the cartoon version of Barney and not the TV show version of Barney, which resulted in this. This costume was so horrific that within the span of 30 days, it had been completely redesigned for the amount of refunds and guest complaints that they had. Could you even imagine? Imagine going to see Mickey Mouse today and they roll out the 1955 version. That's the equivalent of how jarring, how truly jarring this is. So very quickly, they redesigned the head by just stealing an existing live Barney head and throwing it on the frumpy body they had built. And that was that. And that show ran for over 2 years. This is Life Finds a Way to Terrify You is what this is. The modern Barney that we all have today is a really beautiful Barney. It solves so many of the problems that the costume had throughout all the years. It is quite a departure, truly, from the original Barney. That dark purple, aggressive, nostril-laden dinosaur today is now this beautiful, soft, and cuddly, warm, purple, imaginary friend. Let me know in the comments below, if you were a Barney kid like me, what's your favorite Barney movie? What's your favorite Barney song? It's really amazing to have all of you guys watch, comment, like, and subscribe. Say hello to me over on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, Facebook. It's amazing chatting with all of you guys. I love you all so much, and you love me. We're a great big family. The great big hug. From a kiss from me to you, won't you say, I love you too. Bye, guys. You rock. I know that wasn't really the I Love You song, but I'm so paranoid with YouTube, like literally picking up the exact composition of I Love You and then like flagging the entire video. So I gave it the Disney Dan spin.